Hello there, I'm Vic Veer, and I'd like to tell you today about the things you need to look out for if you're worried that you have an ears, nose, or throat cancer. There are, in fact, lots of different risk factors for ENT cancers, but here I'm just going to speak about one or two. By far and away, the most important risk factors are smoking and drinking, particularly when the two are combined. Being exposed to hardwood dust is also important, particularly in nasal cancers, and also exposure to radiation, either from previous radiotherapy or from the workplace or accidents. As I said before, there are lots of different risk factors, including viruses such as EBV and HPV, but these aren't things that you can necessarily change yourself. So I'm going to begin with throat signs and things you should look out for. There are generally three areas that we look out for. One is just above the breastplate or the sternum, which is called the thyroid area. And then there's the salivary glands, which one of them sits right in front of your ear on each side and underneath your jaw. And all the other cancers are at the rest of your neck. So generally speaking, any lump in the neck, if it is greater than 1.5 centimeters and lasts for greater than 3 weeks, we would consider important. If you feel this or you're worried about something, please go and see your GP, and they can consider whether a referral to an ENT doctor is necessary. Apart from the salivary glands and the thyroid gland cancers, all the other cancers generally come from spread within the throat. So what I'm going to do now is go through some of the symptoms that you may experience which would lead to these lumps appearing on your neck. One of the most important symptoms are sore throat or hoarseness for more than 3 weeks. This needs to be constant hoarseness or sore throat rather than the hoarseness coming and going. An early sign of hoarseness may be a subtle change in voice or an inability to sing. Another important sign is an inability to eat solid food, particularly if this gets worse and worse over the coming months. Remember, this swallowing problem has to happen every time you eat, rather than this happening once in a while. So, in summary, the main things you need to look out for throat cancers are a hoarseness, sore throat, or a difficulty in swallowing. There are, however, a number of other symptoms that you ought to know, one of which is a constant sensation of a lump in the throat, something we call globus sensation. Now, this is quite a soft sign because lots of people have this, particularly with reflux, but it is important in some people. Another important fact is that unexplained weight loss and particularly unexplained ear pain can be a problem. This is because the nerve that goes past the ear also goes into the throat. If there's a problem in the throat, it may be revealed by ear pain. Moving on to nasal cancers now. And generally, if you have a blocked nose just on one side, which happens slowly and progressively, particularly if there's some nosebleeds and pus coming from your nose. Admittedly, many of these symptoms are similar to a sinus infection. So we often say, if this goes on for more than 3 weeks, then you ought to get checked out. And if you have sinusitis for more than 3 weeks, well, you ought to get checked out anyway. It is also worth knowing that there is a tumour which occurs in teenage boys, and if you see a boy with bleeding from one side of the nose and blockage, it's best to get him checked out as well. So, in summary, the nasal cancer signs include a blocked nose on one side with bleeding from that side and also infection, which doesn't improve with antibiotics over 3 weeks. These signs are particularly important in adults who are exposed to hardwood dust, such as carpenters, and also teenage boys. Other things you should be worried about would be facial pain or weakness of the face or weakness of the muscles of the eye, giving you double vision. Also, loss of sense of smell and taste can also be caused by nasal cancers, as well as glue ear in adults, which doesn't often happen. Again, if you're not sure, you should see your family doctor or GP and ask them to check you over and work out whether or not you do need to see an ENT doctor. I'm going to finish off with signs of cancer in the ear. Now, to be honest, there aren't many cancers that occur in the ear. So instead, what I've done is I've put down the symptoms and signs that you should be aware of when something bad is happening to your ear and when you should speak to your GP about it. The first is ear pain and discharge that keeps you up at night. Again, this lasts for a few weeks rather than just a couple of days like a normal infection. But what we are worried about here is an ear infection that's gone into the bone of the skull. This is very important and needs to come into hospital for antibiotics through the vein, sometimes for up to 6 weeks. This infection of the bone tends to happen in elderly diabetics or people with a poor immune system. The next sign to think about is recurrent discharge from the ear that does not respond to antibiotic drops. This could be due to a lump called a cholesteatoma. It isn't a cancer necessarily, but it is important and often needs an operation lasting a few hours to remove. Another important sign to consider is hearing a pulse in your ear. This happens quite frequently to people, but doesn't go on for very long. If your pulse in your ear gets louder and louder, and particularly if you're finding that your hearing is dropping, you need to see your GP. I apologise if I've gone through this rather quickly, and indeed I have left out an awful lot, but this should give you a good foundation in understanding what you should be looking out for if you're worried about a cancer in your ears, nose or throat. Thank you very much for watching, and I do hope you found it important and useful.